Good morning. Oh, guys, I guess y'all can see we have some couple of guests sitting in here, and I'm excited about them. Brother Carter.
Good morning.
Good. Won't you tell them? Go and introduce our guests. Nobody can do it like you. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, because I don't want to mess up names and stuff like that. So what we're going to do, here's how we're going to do our introduction. This is the Love and Victory Show with Val. Val is our host. And when you introduce yourself, I want you to look into this camera so that people can see your beautiful faces. I'll look into this camera. I know people like to engage with each other when they're talking, but when you want to get your point across, please look into the camera. So starting with you, Paul, please introduce yourself to the show.
My name's Paul Strobl. I'm a native Houstonian. I'm a life, business, and executive coach. I've been doing it for 15 years. And because I help people to live their ideal lives, that means that I live mine. So even though I'm from Houston and I work with primarily people in Houston, I've been living in South America. The last 6 years I've been in Europe. But I get back to visit about twice a year. So
all right.
It's good to be back in town.
Man, you sound like a busy man.
I try to be not too busy. Live in the mountains, take it slow.
And this is not Paul's first time on the show. It's actually your second time. Paul actually was last time you were on the show.
Bulgaria.
You were in Bulgaria.
I was in Bulgaria in a little tiny mountain town, walking distance from the Greek border.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. So today he is gracing us with his presence in the studio. So
welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you in person.
All right.
Finally. I know. And he does tune in vicariously behind the scenes because he is truly a friend to the Love and Victory Show.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
And so who's sitting to your, what is that, the right or my left over
My
there?
right,
your right, So, hello there. Good morning. Welcome to the Love and Victory Show. How are you this morning?
I'm well.
You well?
Yes.
Introduce yourself to the people. Tell them who you are.
Okay, my name is Moiwa. I am a certified trauma recovery coach.
Wait then, slow that down. Say that name again.
That in like that. Okay, come on.
All right, let me go. So my name is Moiwa.
Sia.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I am a certified trauma recovery coach, Christian counselor. I provide trauma recovery support to organizations, communities, and families to heal, restore, and recover.
Wow.
Hey.
We had a couple of healers on the show today.
Well, you know what? And I love the fact that you said two things. You are a Christian.
Yes.
And to each his own, but for me, that is truly who I am because there are a lot of people out there that are counseling and teaching, and when a person is really broken, you really got to speak to the soul of that person, I believe. That's just my personal opinion. So you might be speaking to me today. We're going to see what you're about today. All righty.
Well, thank you, Sia, for gracing us with your presence on the show today.
Yes. So tell me, what made you decide to join us today with the Love and Victory Show outside of getting a call?
Definitely always want to take the opportunity where I can speak and help somebody and give them awareness and knowledge around their healing journey, right? So I'm always looking to get in rooms and just be some type of support, you know? And I love the show. Like when I actually watched it, I was like, this is interesting. Let me come see what y'all got going on.
All right. Come on in.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about this conversation because...
why are you so excited?
I'm going to tell you, when we were sitting up and really thinking about this show, we always take the guests first. And from the guests, we derive how we want to have a conversation and what we want to talk about. And I really feel like, actually, I felt like all three of you guys that were supposed to be here, but especially you two, you guys could really help us dig into this because I am a person that kind of walk into this space of always feeling like if I don't do it, who will? And so that's why I kind of feel like, okay, I might get a little insight into this personality thing. So I'm excited about this conversation.
Yeah.
And of course, the way we do this, we start off with a question. And the questions is not... just a yes and a no. It's to start the conversation. So feel free to be open and honest. And I'm going to throw this out here.
Have you had a moment where someone?
Did you-
I'm sorry.
You are the co-host.
I'm starting to
You-
question.
Wait.
Sandy's like, Brother Carter.
Brother Carter. Okay, yeah. Okay. You are the co-host. I am the host.
Yes.
Okay, dear.
Yes.
So let me start with my first question.
Have you had a moment?
Okay, what you want me to ask her? What you want me to ask her, baby? Has she had what you want me to ask
She
her?
had a moment where she had to step up and do it.
That's the question I was going to ask her.
No, go ahead.
Okay, what you
the
want me to
host.
say?
Just ask it. Question.
I cannot.
No, y'all can't see us.
This is so petty. Okay. Go ahead, baby.
Go ahead. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you had to say, if I don't do it, no one will?
I think I always have those
You
moments.
always have those moments.
I do. Naturally, it's a call for me. And then secondly, I am a pillar for a lot of people in my life. So I try to, it's expected for me to show up. But what I've been learning is to have balance, that I don't have to be that for everyone, right? And in my earlier stages of life, I think I had sort of like a savior complex, right? So just kind of working through my own trauma, it's, hey, you can't fix this for everybody. You got to fix yourself.
Right.
Especially if you are trying to be in the capacity of helping. Just because you have that capability to help doesn't mean it's your responsibility and your assignment right at that point in time.
Yes. Yeah, and for some reason, I'm
Before
hearing.
she go there, I have to say, okay, I told y'all this is some therapy for me. I had to get to that place because I really honestly felt like whenever there was someone that was going through something, even my children, family members, I had to be that person that had to go fix it or dive in, but it was costing me something.
Right.
Yes.
You know, it cost me a lot. It cost me my happiness sometimes. It added a lot of stress to me, anxiety. It also cost me just from being happy.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to fix everything. So I was putting this mask on for everyone because I felt the need of people really seeing me as a good person. So.
Yeah. And if we
Yes.
dig a little bit deeper, I know that derives from rejection a lot of times, right? For me, it did.
Very good.
And the need of, if I could help somebody and fix somebody, I was needed and wanted and seen, but not realizing how detrimental it was to my growth, my happiness, and my fulfillment, right? I was giving out from a deficit place.
Yes, that's literally where it was coming from. And Paul, just jump in anytime because
Sorry,
really,
Paul.
I don't want to take. I don't want to take over this because that's
No, I love
literally what it was for me. I was actually missing something. So in my mind, I felt like as long as I was pouring into someone else, they can see me and they would pour back. So yeah, wow.
The other thing that you miss out on there is allowing other people to learn. When you're jumping in and helping them all the time, they kind of sometimes people around us, they'll just be like, well, okay, she's going to take care of it.
Right. So they fall back. Exactly.
So they don't learn how to deal
They don't
with
know
the
how to
issue
do
themselves.
Yes. Well, before I go any further, my oldest grandchild is on here. Good morning, Darian. I see you out there. We love you. He's the one that kept us up late last night. He came and visited his grandparents. I love him. He is up early this morning.
Good
supporting the
morning.
Love and Victory Show with Val.
So I'm hearing, in my mind, hearing you guys talk, thinking about the acronym, the word was depend. Am I?
Dependable.
Dependable. Think I seen a E in there for exhausting. It's got to be exhausting to continue trying to take the lead on everything in life. And so at some point, you want to know, what about me?
Well, it
How
is
did you-
exhausting.
So when you get to that point, how do you handle that part of it? Paul, either one of you can jump in. When you get it so exhausted and you're at a place right now where it seems like you're helping. And at some point, you need help yourself.
Yeah.
I work with a ton of entrepreneurs. About half of my client base, they have their own businesses, and especially when they're women who own their own businesses, it's like they're the givers, and they identify as being the givers. So they carry the responsibility of all their employees that they're supporting, and then they're doing all the other responsibilities that they used to do in the 1950s and still doing. Right. It's really looking at, what do I need to be doing? What are some things other people can be helping out with? Is there a software solution that'll help me get organized? Is there, something to carve out the time? Because to the title of this whole thing of, if I don't do it, who will? It's taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
It's you put your oxygen mask on first, right?
Well, right. There's a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a reason the plane, that's one of the requirements. You put yours on first. You're no good for anybody if you're all
Yes.
sore.
Yeah.
And I had to literally get to that place. So now I have
So are you there?
Oh, for sure. I have the gift of goodbye. I have the gift of no.
Yes.
I have the gift, I'm not dealing with that right now. I have no problem with setting boundaries.
All right, then.
Yeah. I think in the work I do, it can get exhausting, right? But being that I'm a believer, right, when it does get exhausting, I ask myself, am I doing that in my strength?
Come on now.
Or in God's
Come on
strength?
now.
Right? And then I think Paul and Miss Val touched on it, having boundaries.
Yes.
You have to have boundaries in this work, especially if you are called to help people.
Yes.
And then also understanding there's different ways of help. Because if you're that person that I'm all in, you tend to put everything in.
Right.
Where it might not require that. You may just need to be like, oh, I can give you a resource, right? Or I can,
Yeah.
however way
Yeah.
it works for you, but we don't have to put 10 hands in.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you choose, for someone that's listening out there, how do you choose, or when will you know it doesn't require 10 hands, as you just said, or it may just require a finger
So
or a word?
let's use family, right? Because
Okay.
that tends to be
The most
a lot of
exhausted.
Yeah.
people that we have to help, right?
Yes.
I'll use my mom for example, right? So she's a very hardworking woman, and she's now at her older age. And I think sometimes when you get older, you're just like, I just want somebody to do it for me. She's very capable of doing it, right? So don't enable someone when
Right,
you know that they
right.
have the tools and
Yes.
the resources. Just redirect them, right? And I'm in an age where I really want to help my mom. But I'm like, Mom, she asked me the other day, she was looking at something. Is this where I signed? I'm like, Mom, you didn't even look at the document.
Yeah.
Like, just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like those simple things,
Yeah.
right? So just decipher and know what you're willing to also give out, right? If you're over giving out, then you've done too much.
Right, right.
That's a
Yeah.
good one there.
Yeah.
You're actually
Yeah.
crippling the individual,
Yeah, I like the analogy. I think it was Lencioni, one of the business writers in management, where there's a lot of parenting management correlation there. And he says, if somebody comes to your office with a monkey, make sure they leave with the monkey.
Oh.
Otherwise, you fill your office with monkeys. You're taking on everybody else's problems.
Wait, I like that. So if someone comes in and brings you some crap
Yeah.
or a situation,
Yeah.
don't let them just leave it there in your space.
No, you ask the questions. Hey, what do you think are 3 possibilities to solve this problem? Get them thinking. And if they know that every time they go to your office, you're going to ask them questions about how to solve it, they're going to stop just showing up and saying, I got a problem. They're going to show up and say, hey, I've got a problem. I'm thinking of this and this. What do you think? Right?
Yeah.
And you want them to get them thinking on their own and not enabling them to just always come to you.
That is really, really good.
That was a
Abigail, I
helpful
see you
tool.
want to jump in over there. You a question? Yes.
Yes, we had a question from. We had a question on Facebook, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
Facebook. Ladarius Wynn says, Paul, from your perspective, what is it like to be a dependable person?
Good question.
I think it comes down to saying what you do and doing what you say. And sometimes something will happen where you can't come through with what you promised. And then it's just, how do you make it right?
Yeah.
When you fail that. But just saying what you do, doing what you say, don't overpromise what you can do. And for me, that's all it's about, is living by that.
Living by that. I think that, I hope, Ladarius, that answered your question, because I think you're spot on it, Paul. That's spot on it.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have another one?
No, not that I saw in the comments, but I kind of had a question too.
Sure, I knew
'cause,
you did, yeah.
I feel like I'm a person too that like people can rely on me, and I like being relied on. It makes me feel important. It makes me feel like needed. But at the same time, I struggle with asking for support because I don't want to put that burden onto somebody else. So what is y'all's like kind of experience with that, and like how do you go about that?
You just said you feel good when you give, right? Mm-hmm. You are denying other people that good feeling by not asking.
That's good.
I never thought about it like that.
Wow.
That's
Can you
crazy.
repeat that again? Because that's a good question, and that's an excellent response for someone.
Yeah, like just, when you're a person that everyone relies on, you don't want to pass that burden. So whenever you need to rely on somebody, you tend to not do that. But you made a really good point that you're denying that other person that good feeling of, wow, I helped this person, I helped fix them or helped bring them to a better place in life. And I never really thought about it like that. I just was more like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to, mess anybody's day up or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's a really cool way
But
to
you might
look
be
at it.
making their day.
Exactly. Wow, that's a cool way to think about that.
Yeah.
Daryl Harper just asked a question on YouTube. Can we please get him?
Yes, Darnell Harper. He said, "Have you ever felt that you need some moments to think that where your life is going? Have you ever feel that you need some moment to think that where your life is going?"
Okay.
Take a moment to take a deep breath, in other words.
Yeah.
All the time.
Every day.
And actually, I think that it's a good thing
It
to
is.
just take that moment to breathe and figure out and not take anything in from other people because you haven't really even processed it yourself.
But that means you also have to take the time to do the reflection. I mean, it's really easy for us. Like we were just talking about before the show, we've got this thing in our pocket that is a distraction anytime we want a distraction. And rather than sitting and really thinking about ourselves or our life or journaling, we pick up the phone and it's there. And the same way a recovering alcoholic doesn't go to bars, we carry the bar around in our pocket all day long.
Wow. So we never take time to just turn it all off.
Yeah.
To just be.
Well, that's one good thing about Brother Carter. Literally, he comes in from work, he plugs his phone up, he walks away from it. He does not even go back
That's
to it
awesome.
at all.
What a
at
great
all.
example.
Even when we're leaving sometime, I'll say to him, "Hey, you gonna grab your phone?" He said, "Well, I'm with you."
Yeah.
That,
The outside noise don't mean a thing to me right now.
and he really, I think that's an excellent, and he doesn't even plug his phone up in the bedroom. His phone is in the kitchen at night. So
great.
I think that's real good.
I feel like if it's something important, you would leave a message.
Yeah.
Well, and attention is love, right?
Yeah.
Like even when we're a little kid, attention is love. But think about if everywhere we give our attention is love. How much do you love social media versus the people around you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're giving attention to is valuable. Your time is valuable.
Absolutely.
I think life is very intentional and like with all the messages we see, the life people live that we see on TV, I guess it tells us we have to have life together and nobody has life together. We're trying to live this thing day by day, month by month, year by year. And I love that you have that skill to like say, I'm going to take a moment back and focus on myself. That's self-care.
Yes.
Like you can't give attention to everyone and anything.
Well, I may do that a little more often than I need to. So don't really give me credit for that.
No, I really do think that's a great thing because literally, even with the text messages and all, we have family group text messages. And I'm sorry, he's like 10 days late before he responds on stuff. But he's really not allowing the phones to control him. And I think that's a healthy thing. So.
Yeah.
That is.
And there's boundaries there too.
Yes.
Of letting people know, I'm not going to answer right away. I'm going to check my message this time. That you schedule it in your day of when you're going to go through your WhatsApp or Messenger or whatever.
A million of
using.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say set the expectation that this time is when I check. Don't expect me to answer earlier.
Oh,
Right?
Wow.
all righty then.
So what would you tell the person that had that if I don't, no one else will? Speaking on that.
What would you tell that?
What would you tell an individual that has pots on burner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? There is no 6, but they have pots on 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 also. What would you tell a person that's just having multiple things on the burner to do and it's just too many pots for the stove.
But is it too many pots for you to watch? And I'm not saying you.
No.
Or is it
Some
too-
people just take on more than they should.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what would you say to that individual that do that?
I think
Good question.
what is the motive behind why you're doing that, right? And really prioritize, because one person can't have
No.
10 things
Yeah.
going on, right? And I will also say somebody that's very busy, what are you not dealing with in your own life that you're running away from?
Something. Okay.
Right? That's not always the case.
No.
But
Yeah. What are you avoiding by being
Yes.
busy? By being productive? Or,
Do y'all hear this here? I told you y'all
What are
gonna
you
get some
avoiding?
stuff.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you guys have any questions, comments, and you want to call in, they're gonna run that phone number at the bottom. Please call in if you like to, or just continue to put it online.
Yes. Right.
I think that's a great way of looking at it, because maybe you are trying to avoid something, and how do they get to figuring out if they are avoiding something?
I think you got to look at the cycles and the patterns in your life, right?
But how do they? I mean, what do you mean? Y'all smart? The other
Look
people may not be that smart.
first of all, the things that you're doing, what is it serving? Right? Because I'm a believer, anything I put my hands to, there is
has to
an
be.
exchange.
There you go.
Right? So what has it progressed in your life? What has it done in your life?
Okay.
Right? And if something's not working, you keep on going through this cycle and this pattern. We talk about exhaustion. We talk about not being fulfilled, and you're in this place of unhappiness. Something's going on, right? And a lot of people don't know how to get to the root of their issue.
Right.
Right? Because a lot of the root of our issue stems from our foundational setting, right? When I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Abigail.
Abby was talking about, I don't feel comfortable receiving. Well, where does that stem from? I know for me, it was because coming up, like, I was rejected. I dealt with all these things, so I didn't think I was worthy of that. And I'm still trying to learn how to lean into somebody doing something for me, because it feels uncomfortable, right? Although it's rewarding,
Wow.
and I know that I'm deserving of that, it's my DNA's been wired like, it takes me right back to that place sometimes, like, oh, this feels so uncomfortable. I want to just, and I'll give right back.
Yes,
You know?
You'll turn it into, how can I help you? How
Yeah,
can,
exactly.
What are you dealing
Wow.
with?
Even a compliment, right? Like, be a gracious receiver and say thank you. Not, oh, well, you look great too. That's not why they told you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right.
don't.
I think that has to deal with being uncomfortable, or being not having confidence and esteem issues, all these different things. I believe that I found myself, and I was about to tell my wife this the other day. Someone complimented me the other day, and I thought about it, everything that was wrong with me versus accepting, and I said, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Am I borderline going through some depression, or what? You know, because
Yeah.
I've never,
You've never
been a person that second guessed who I was in life. You know, and it hit me just the other day, and I'm like, what the
Where'd that come from?
Sam Hill is going on here?
Yeah.
You know, so I need some help.
Okay.
Congratulations, Brother Carter. You're human.
we got the help in the room, I understand where I used to be that person that couldn't take a compliment, or saw everything that was wrong with me, and I thought was wrong with me because I measured that off of how I thought people viewed me. I think what changed for me is that I really started to like myself and appreciate myself.
Yeah.
I started to really look at the man in the mirror, and I figured out, you know what, I'm not half bad.
Yeah.
And as I started to really like that person that was looking back at me in the mirror, it was easier for me to drown out that noise that I allowed other people to plant inside of me.
And I love the words you're using, because I think a lot of the gurus out there, they're like, oh, love yourself and all that. It's like, no. Just start with liking yourself.
Yes, yes.
Like yourself first. You know, you got to go on a date first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm going to be honest with you, literally, that's what I started to do. I used to always like to just, I'll go to the movie, I'll go to a restaurant, but I really wasn't dating myself. I was going by myself to avoid being with other people.
Yes.
Now I go because I truly enjoy me.
Yes.
I enjoy, which makes me much more pleasant to be around.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. If you want to be around people you like, what is it like when you're with yourself?
there you go. There you go.
If you don't like that,
Yeah, you're not a likable person to be around. My oldest granddaughter just jumped on. Hey, Diamond. Good morning, granddaughter. So I know I'm giving them shout outs, but it's just good when you have family that join in. My older children joins in, and but to see my grandchildren, my granddaughter is 22, my grandson is 23. They're getting ready to turn again. They are so proud of their grandparents. I guess we're doing something right when that generation is one.
Amen. So on that note, as your co-host, I think it's time to take a
We take a pause for the calls.
Woo! We got some good conversation. Well, yeah, that word taking place right now, and we're talking about if I don't, who will? If I don't, who will? So I have a good question right now for Sia. I'm gonna start off with Sia on this one. A little bit about your journey and where it started. What jump started your journey that you're currently on?
Wow.
Oh, I'm taking you back, huh?
Yeah, that's a deep.
So when did
journey.
this start, actually?
Are you talking about the work that I'm actually
Right.
doing?
Yes.
I think that it started from my childhood, right? I've always had a call in my life, and I think when you have this call to impact people, you experience a lot of things that you don't understand early on in age. And I'm very transparent about my journey. I come from an abusive home. I dealt with molestation, abusive relationships.
Because I was going to ask you, what was that very traumatizing thing that took place there?
So I've dealt with a lot of traumatic things that led me into the work that I've done, and then finding my journey, knowing God, coming to God, that I had this call to minister. So my life has always been surrounded around healing.
Okay.
I had to experience in order to be able to help someone else come out of what they're currently going through or will experience,
And so the beautiful thing about you doing the work that you're doing, the beautiful thing is something you came from and being able to talk about the things that you went through to become who you are today. People are more inclined, should I say, to, okay, she's been through something too, so she's not just telling me off book sense of who she is. You're talking real life stuff that really...
And it's important to, when you are dealing with people with such sensitive issues and challenges, you don't want to speak from a place that you haven't lived.
Right.
It's different to have empathy, and then it's different to say, I've actually gone through this thing.
Right.
I've actually taken the steps to come out of it, so let me show you how to do that, right? I always say that I feel that I am the living example of healing.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Sia.
No problem.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to open up the table for some real conversation here.
I was waiting for it.
Well, there was another conversation that took place off camera, and then we're going to get back to the show. But I learned something. We have a reality star sitting in here. Paul, can you share with our listeners what what show that was, and what that experience was like?
So this was the year 2000. I was in England. I'd been backpacking around the world. I was working semi-legally in a pub in London.
Legally or
semi?
legally?
Sorta. Yeah.
Sorta, kind of, sorta.
He is a changed man.
Yes,
Don't go
yes.
judging him
Totally
now.
changed man.
That's who he was.
And they put out this thing about this reality show to apply to, and raising funds and awareness for War Child, which is an international charity that helps war-affected children in different parts of the world. And I put my name in the hat thinking nothing's going to happen. Kept getting called back for the next thing and the next thing. And then I was one of 6 people, 3 guys, 3 girls in their 20s, chosen from different countries to live in and drive a 1958 British double-decker bus from Canada to the southern tip of South America over a period of 8 months. And we'd be doing PR, and it became a 13-part half-hour episode series that went on UK Horizons, and it showed in like 8 countries, but on satellite access. It wasn't very successful because it was also when Big Brother came out.
Oh,
And
okay.
Big Brother just drowned out any kind of reality show. When we got to Belize, they were filming Temptation Island. It was
Yes.
like our show of doing good.
Just didn't.
Yeah. But I got, I was backpacking, so I got a free trip and got to learn about documentary filmmaking and all that, and got to do some good. And that kind of kicked off. That's how I originally got to Argentina, was on a bus.
On a bus.
When did this journey take place? When did you start all of this backpacking? And would you call yourself a drifter at the time when you first began?
When I first began, I'll be honest with you, I was trying to run away from myself, but every time I turned around, I was still there.
Yeah. And that's usually,
deep.
yeah.
But then, but there was some truth to it for me in that I was always curious about other cultures and languages. I studied anthropology in my undergraduate, and so I did want to experience these places. And so that cultural curiosity, once I healed, it was still a driving force for me to be in different places and learn about other cultures and learn languages. So
you speak, how many different languages do you speak?
Fluently, I only speak Spanish and English 100% fluent, but I speak a little bit of Polish, a little bit of Japanese, a little German, and where I live in Bulgaria, I'm about halfway there. I'm fully functional in Bulgarian, but I'm not a grammar expert.
It don't sound like such a wonderful place to say that Bulgaria. It just doesn't sound like
It doesn't
the
have-
highlight place to go.
It doesn't. I think they have a marketing problem, that country. but in reality, it used to be part of the Roman Empire. Philip of Macedonia conquered Plovdiv, where I lived for a bit, has this really interesting, rich history. And then when communism came in, it kind of killed a lot of the culture. But then, of course, after that all ended, things are coming back, and it's becoming more of a destination for other Europeans to go and experience. And it's an amazing place. I love it there, and I love that it's right next to Greece, it's right next to Turkey, it's right next to all these places that have different languages and culture.
Wow.
There was a question that just came up on Facebook. I think it was
question?
Facebook. Can you, or did y'all see it? It kind of popped.
particular one? I saw one that was asking about.
Yeah, so it sounds like Sandy on YouTube wants to know more about the Argentina trip. Were you okay? Was there any difficulties?
There were many difficulties, and actually, I was writing a monthly column for the Houston Chronicle in the lifestyle section during that time, so that can still be searched, and you can find those talks about the different stuff that we encountered. But we never got a flat tire, but the bus did have a big breakdown because it's a 1958 bus, and so we got it all fixed in Belize. Fortunately, Belize historically was a Commonwealth country, a British Commonwealth, so we had the mechanics and the know-how of people that knew how to fix
that bus.
Not the bus, but it's a tractor engine. So they knew how to work on that kind of diesel engine. They had the right size tools, and so we got stuck in Belize for a little while, and it got fixed. But everything else was good. We didn't have any crazy, awful experiences.
Nobody came out of the jungle with a sword.
No, but in the middle of the night, I'll tell you what, in Belize City, in the middle of the night, we were robbed and we were all on board. And somebody, one of these teenagers, slipped a young kid through this little crack in a window, and they took tennis shoes and a radio and whatever else. And then we wake up and there's somebody in the bus.
Oh God! Oh God! Now that's an experience.
Yeah.
Very creative.
Oh
thieves.
God! I'm gonna go back to because
As you see, we can have a conversation with either one of these guys.
they are
a
amazing.
full-blown show. Very interesting people we have on the
Yes,
show.
amazing.
Yes.
But I do have to give back to if I don't, who will? And with that being asked, because we really have some people out there that really need this help. And so, Paul, I'm going to turn to you and ask this question. If you're a single father, because there are fathers out there that are raising their kids alone and doing an amazing job. But I'm sure just like single moms get a little tired, fathers do too. What advice could you give a father that is out there? Do you have kids?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
a step.
He got
You're
kids
step
all over the world.
I know.
None of that can be proven.
So what advice can you give to a man or a woman that really feels like they're carrying everything on their shoulders? And if they break, what's going to happen to?
I'd say, I was a single parent for a very brief period when my wife broke her arm, and it was during COVID, so all the restaurants were closed. I was cooking, I was taking care of everything. I was getting up in the morning, I was working late at night, and I got a small taste of that, and I don't know how single parents do it. It's crazy, and this is
Paul said, I don't know how to answer that question.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn to the trauma therapist over here, because that is trauma, I do think, because you constantly feeling like if something breaks, it's going to impact the entire family, because I'm it. What advice would you give?
I would say, and I can speak from this because I've been a single mother, understand that you don't have to carry everything alone. Find a community of people that can take the weight or balance the weight for you, and also focus on your positives, right? I think we become so critical as single mothers because it's like, oh, we don't have a father in the home, so now, we can't give our children that, or, we're trying to be these superheroes, and you're not called to be a superhero or a superhuman. Be proud of what you are doing, that you are still in there, that you still intentionally show up for your children, and you are giving them the best that you can. That's all that you can do, because none of us, even if we come from a two-parent household, we're not given a book on how to raise children.
And
right?
And it's really important for parents to also set boundaries with their children, because sometimes what you end up doing is overcompensating for something that you think they need, when in fact all they really need is you being present with them at that time.
Exactly.
To your point, being present is everything, and it's not being present all the time. It's not the quantity; it's the quality of being there, and it's enough. Whatever you're doing is enough, and just know that it's enough.
It's enough.
Yeah.
And so, speaking on children right now, today it's very difficult to raise children as single parent, because you don't have the village. When I was coming up, the whole neighborhood helped raise one another, and we stayed in that neighborhood for long periods of time. And right now we have this everyone is moving, and we don't even know our neighbors anymore, It's not like it used to be. So you have to find a small village, I guess, what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
When you single parenting, find a small village, whether it's your mom, grandmama, or whatever it is, some people that you trust with your children to help you along the way.
Yeah, and work out creative ways to barter. To tell a neighbor, hey, drop your kids off, go on a date night, whatever. I'll take care of them, and then this Friday I've got this thing. Can you look after mine? Find creative ways to do that.
We have some questions coming in that they're throwing.
Yeah, this one's from Griff on YouTube. He said, "Have you guys ever felt that you are not giving enough time to your family or your children?"
I'll take it first. Yes. Yes, I have. And again, I think it also goes for me, that entrepreneur, that professional, that person that I got to do this. I got to do it. And again, you're going to hit that brick wall. I hit that brick wall, and that wall will check you. So, I did feel that. Anybody else?
I think that's a realistic thing for everybody, right? Because people in your family are going to have some type of unrealistic expectations of how they want you to show up. And I'm trying to be more intentional about showing up when it matters. So, there is not enough time. There never is going to be enough time. So,
because I feel like, I'm not a parent yet in life, but I also feel like
you're a child, though.
I am a child, and I feel like a lot of moms these days, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Paul, like women kind of still have to uphold a lot of the domestic duties, but also work.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of moms have to work. Like, it's not like they don't want work because they want to. You have to, and that is also supporting your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to find that balance of like, okay, maybe I don't spend enough time with them, but I have to have a job. I have to
Right.
support them.
Right.
I have to put food on the table.
Right.
So I feel like that's almost like kind of like a mom guilt thing that a lot of people experience.
It is.
And I would say to the single mom, don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
You know, it's not your fault that you're a single parent. You know, you do have to work.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just hope you raise your children or one of your kids to be more responsible in the home, to be able to help and assist, you know, you as you go to work. I come up from a single parent home myself, and being the oldest child, you know, I had to be the one responsible for making sure things was, because mom sometimes had to work 16-hour shifts as a nurse. And back then, as a nurse, you still wasn't making but pennies.
Yeah.
You know, I was, because I was looking at some of the check stubs back then. I'm like, that's all you made as a nurse, mama?
Yeah, and put it together. And made sure everybody was good.
So how you did it, I don't know. And how single parents do it, just God.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I just want to give a piece of advice to that too. Single mothers, kill the comparison.
Yeah.
Like, kill that. You are not going
you.
to be able to live up to how somebody else is living their life and what they're doing. Your journey is your journey.
Yes.
Plain and simple. And we don't choose our lives. For whatever reason, God allows us to live those lives. But I also believe that it leads you to the purpose. And I will say this, I have a 25-year-old son, and I'm very proud of how I have raised him. I allowed him...
How old is your child?
25.
Go, girl. Gorgeous.
I
She
have
was
allowed
about
him
10 years old when she had it.
But I have allowed him to see me break, right? Literally, because this is life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't hide that from your children. Like, they need to see you cry. They need to see you struggle. And I say this, I'm not ready to go and leave this earth, but I say if I was to leave this earth, I'm confident that my son would know how to take care of himself. You know?
Because you've shown him. You've
Yes.
been honest with him. You prepared him.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like the biggest thing you can do as a supporter, whether that be your children or to friends and stuff, is to like set them up for success. I'm very big on like, you know that saying, like, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Like, I think that kind of goes back into the enabling. If you're just constantly doing for people, and like, I'm sure you've heard about like mama's boys and stuff like that, you know, like, oh, my mom will do this for me, my mom does my laundry, you know.
We're talking to you, Italians.
We actually have someone in here that's dear to my heart. Good morning, Denise. That is Christian's mom. She is also a fan of the show, and I absolutely love her. So good morning. Thanks for jumping in.
Good morning.
right.
That is key. By the grace of God. That's how we manage. That's how you exist.
Yeah, by the grace of God.
Yes.
I'm gonna take myself. I'm gonna put myself out there.
Okay.
One of the hardest things for me to do still that I'm trying to work through right now is really being okay when I say I'm done. I don't want to go back with that guilt of, because sometimes people can put you in this place of guilt. Why are you not talking? Why are you not dealing with I'm done? Because it's not a healthy place for me. I don't feel that it's healthy for me to keep putting myself back in that situation. Am I wrong? Or why do I carry that? Why do I feel bad about that?
Because you're not a psychopath.
Okay. Give it to me.
You feel. I mean, it's hard. I mean, even if it's somebody that is a little toxic, if you have history, and it's hard because you still feel something, and if they're good at giving the guilt, and
So it's okay and I think that we have to give ourselves grace and be okay with when you say no to something. You're not saying, and if you're not saying no just to be mean, but you're saying no because it's unhealthy for you, it's okay. Say
Sound
no,
like you're
set
human.
boundaries.
yeah, and it's okay. Feeling the guilt is okay.
Okay.
And loving the person but not being with them is still okay. It can happen at the same time.
Okay.
I feel like in this world, we have a distorted understanding of what love is. And we feel like if we tell somebody no, or if we say, I've had enough, that's bad. When in actuality, that is love. Right?
Wow.
Because I'm not accepting something that's unhealthy to me. Right? And I think that we need to understand, like, even when you say no, right? I'm very intentional about this. When I'm going to cut off a relationship or whatnot, I have a conversation, let you know, hey, this is not working for me. This is what's happening. And I can't continue in this relationship, so that when I do walk away, you have a full understanding of why. Because I used to hate when people would like cut me off and we'd stop talking. And I'm going through the motions like, why are we not friends no more? Why are we not? Like, that's so taxing on somebody, right?
Yes.
So you're doing self-preservation for yourself. Like, I can't do this. And that's probably a place in you that's also growing and evolving and becoming healthier. So don't look at it as a bad thing.
Yes. I like
And we have to start with our children too, because we're raising these children up, and they don't know how to take no for an answer. And I see people just giving to the children, and they grow up with that selfish attitude in life. That more of, what is that word called?
entitlement.
Exactly.
Yes, entitlement.
That one right there.
Yes. Oh,
For me, 5 words to learn how to use are I love you and no. Because the first thing that people go to if you say no is, oh, well, you don't care about me. You don't. So lead with
I
what
love you
and
no.
Yeah.
That feels so good.
Yeah. And you have to do it.
Okay. We
We're
have some
gonna get
questions.
started on our Q&A segment. We have a few
Already
questions.
time. Okay, then put them up there.
We got a few questions coming up. Christian's gonna read those off.
Okay, so the first question is from Terry on YouTube. They ask, do you think social media is making our lives easier
Yes.
or the opposite?
Opposite.
See, you didn't let him finish it. You didn't let him finish it. Could you get the question out, please?
Yeah, do you think social media is making our lives easier or the opposite?
Yeah. Opposite.
Definitely the opposite for the majority. I mean, technology is an amazing tool as long as we keep that in mind and use it as a tool.
Yeah.
It's not a replacement for anything in your life or your relationships or anything.
Not a lifeline.
Okay, very good. Next
You
question.
got?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I used to be a person that felt like social media was just horrible, but I've learned that it's not, because you have to take it for just what it is. It's using it for my business is just what it is for my business. Using it, Facebook is where I stay connected to my high school, my friends in school. That's it. It is not a place for me to display my personal life.
So what do you say to the person that make a post, do a post or whatever y'all call it, and they don't get the likes? And you know, I know they seen my post, and they didn't. Then they could at least liked it.
Because you're
there are
living-
people out
you
there that
feel-
really no, seriously.
I know
There's
that.
people. You one
asked
of
me
them
what
people?
no, you asked me what I said to them. Y'all see how we go in? So I'm going to answer it. It goes back to not needing validation from those people out there. It's being okay. If you post something up, it's how you're feeling in the moment. And you're not posting hopefully because you're not trying to get validation from them. That validation, and people that don't know you, don't really care about you, that really don't have anything good for you. So the validation, when I post a picture, I'm not sitting around waiting on whether y'all like it or not. I love it. That's why I post it.
Okay. What you say to that, Sia?
I say that I agree with Ms. Val and I agree with Paul. I think that how you use it is very important, right? But also considering that whatever you post shows what you really feel about yourself and what you really think about yourself.
Yes.
And so I'm very mindful of what I show, because it's a reflection of my brand.
That's
It's a
right.
reflection of who I am as a woman, how I want to show up. And everybody's not thinking that way, right? But I also, like, in the morning when I wake up, I don't just hop on social media. I center myself. What are my beliefs? What do I stand for? So if I see something subconsciously, I can counterattack that.
Right.
Right?
Very good.
Yeah, and I feel like social media is such a, like kind of how Paul said earlier, it's in your pocket. Like if you're bored for a second, you pull out your phone. If you're waiting in line for, to get something to eat or for an appointment or something, you pull out your phone. And I feel like people just need to spend their time on social media more intentionally. Like, have a purpose for, I'm going to be like looking for something rather than using it as an activity in and of itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of people use it as a way of avoiding.
Oh,
Sure.
that's a
very
really
true.
good. That's a good
That's
thought.
very true.
Avoiding what are they avoiding?
Yeah, contact with other people, communicating.
Or your own thoughts.
Yeah,
Your own reality.
It's easy to just sit there and just scroll through your phone. And you think nobody's really looking at you, nobody paying attention to you.
What was that? There was an internet meme a while back that said, I was in Starbucks today and I saw this guy sitting at a table drinking coffee. There was no phone, there was no computer. He just sat there drinking it like a psychopath.
Yeah.
That does feel a little crazy though, especially to like people like me and Christian who grew up kind of like with phones and social media. It's like, you're just going to sit there? Like, no stimulation?
You're gonna eat a meal without your phone?
You didn't take a picture
I've
of
seen,
it?
I've seen your generation sit at a table across from each other and they doing this.
The whole
Yeah.
time. There
Sending
is
stuff to each
Instead
other.
of looking up at each other and saying anything, you just put the words here.
Yeah.
I said, no,
Any
what
other
the hell?
questions?
They didn't
Yes,
even look
we
at
have
each
other
other.
questions. Christian, you want to pull those up?
Yeah, so we'll pull from Facebook for this one. This is Joel on Facebook. He asks,
Hey, Joe.
who's the person in your life who heals you in your lowest moment?
Wow.
Okay, I'll take that. God first, and then my husband, and then I'm also very, very close with my children. So depending on what is going on with me, I call them my petty crew, my children. I can talk to them.
Yeah.
But really, that's God and my husband.
Where you go to that, Paul?
I'd say my wife is definitely the main pillar in my life and the person that it's a safe space to talk to about anything, which is amazing. And this may sound weird for some people, but man, pets.
Pets.
Yeah.
When I divorced and I went out to the mountains in Patagonia and I was just kind of feeling bad, I had this dog that was just
Yeah.
Amazing.
there.
Rex.
That's crazy you say that about dogs because I mean they are emotional support animals,
Yeah.
but like I've noticed in times where I'm like maybe my most down and I'm like crying and I'm like depressed and I'm staying in bed, I've noticed my dogs even neglect their own needs. They don't ask to be, well, obviously they don't talk, but they don't even care to go outside. Like they just lay right next to me the entire day.
Oh wow.
And they're like I feel like most people should try to be more like dogs, more selfless.
Yes.
Okay.
What did the scripture say this morning?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot again, Brother Carter.
Definitely God. Like that's the source of everything in my life. And then the relationship with myself because it's important. What am I saying to myself when I do feel low? And then my community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Okay, next question is back to YouTube. Terry asks, can you guys share some experience of raising your children?
Hey, Terry on YouTube.
You didn't even sound excited. Y'all
YouTube.
know he don't like YouTube because. Okay, I love YouTube
When he said
and my
Joe,
people.
when he said Joe from Facebook,
You
hey,
got excited,
Joe.
right? Okay, I love my YouTube. Okay, what's the numbers out there? YouTube.
No.
No. YouTube beat out Facebook.
We have the same number of questions from Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, all right. So experience raising.
You want to go first? I gotta think of one.
Okay.
I'm too. In all honesty, I'm spoiled. I met my son when he was 6.
Okay.
And he is like he follows the rules. He self-regulates for social media or his PlayStation. It's like I have it way too easy. So I don't have advice for going through horrible, difficult things. As a parent, he's been amazing.
He's been amazing.
I would render a little advice that spend some time with your children when you can. Stop letting them spend most of their time on social media, watching television, and
Playing
all the
games.
different things that they do. Spend some time with your child. Teach them how to just. Our main goal, should I say, is to raise them to be productive
Yeah.
adults at some point in their lives. And so we have to start, if I don't, who will?
Very good. Very good. And I would think my advice is give them that.
I'm glad my children grown and gone.
I know, right? Give them that safe place that they can come and talk to you about anything. Because if you don't do that, they're going to go talk to someone.
You're right.
And that someone is not going to be, they're not going to have the same heart for them in most cases.
That's straight from your heart right there. Our grandson is 23, 24 years old, and he still come talk to
All of my children, my grandkids, I just believe that you just give them a safe place.
You're right.
You know, and I think that's the best advice I can give any parent, anyone that's thinking about having children. Give them a safe place, judgment free.
Yeah.
But be honest with them.
And
come talk to
available.
you and be available.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
That's my-
I think my journey with my child, we raised each other. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But just like you saying, being honest, give him a safe space. And one thing, I raised my son to be an independent thinker.
Yeah.
Just because when we're growing up, we're shoved all these messages, and I wanted him to know who he was, especially as a black man, and knowing that he is a king. You know, like he know mama hands down always for him. So yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, the advice I got from my wife was, and I think this is for everybody, is she said, you don't have to be anything extra.
Right.
Just be you,
Just
and
be
the
you.
person you are.
Is enough.
And
Yeah.
that's enough. I think we have a tendency to have to get in the phone booth and
Come on now,
change
come on.
and be okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm dad.
Yeah.
You know, tomorrow I'm going to change and I'm going to be whatever the business.
Or be two different people.
Yes.
Like I've seen people go out
Yeah.
and they have this image, and then behind the closed doors is like something totally
You see
different.
them at church like that, huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to call that out. Sorry. You know, I'm a straight shooter. And I think what happens there, you know, and since I'm going there, we're giving our children mixed signals. And that's why so many of the young adults are going the total opposite way of the church, because they see you live in one way. And then when they go in church and they see some of the people in church with such mean spirits or such judgmental, so they're like, they don't want any part. Just be who you
Like,
are.
Mr. Val gonna have me being transparent this morning. Yeah, I think I've experienced a lot through ministry, right? Like, I think there's a lot of good things that you get from church, but there's a lot of unhealthy things.
Yes.
And the church just create this culture where we have to show up as our unauthentic self.
Right.
Right. And so when we
Pious.
go through challenges in life, instead of having a space to confront those things, we put on that spiritual bypassing as, oh, God always gonna do this. And true enough, God is good. Don't get me wrong, he's a miracle worker. But we don't have the skills to process traumatic things, because we're just gonna pray, we're just gonna fast. And there's also
Read your
other
word.
things.
Read your word, but you're reading a word that you can't even
digest or comprehend, right?
at that moment.
And so we live in a place of being religious rather than relationship. Yeah.
Right there. Enough said right there.
What's the next question?
We got time for one more question, so I'll bring it back to Facebook for this one, even it out.
Whatever.
Who do we have on Facebook?
This is from Jeanette. She asks, from where do
Jeanette.
you guys get all your motivation?
Where you get your motivation?
Paul.
That's a great question, because obviously being a coach, people ask me about motivation all the time. And to be honest, I don't always have motivation. What happens, what I use really is not motivation, it's habits that matter. And in the morning when I don't feel like adulting or whatever, it's I do these things. These are who I am. This is what I do. And when you consistently take action in line with who you are and what you're about, then you don't need the motivation.
Yeah.
And it gives you motivation by having done it. So it's kind of like a win-win.
I think that we are more selfless than selfish than we think we are. And if you think back on your lives, I bet you your greatest motivation comes from esteeming someone other than yourself. And I believe that's where true motivation come from. I think back when I was coaching Little League basketball and AAU basketball, that was a great motivation. Being able to get these kids motivated and pouring into them, showing them, giving them direction, and it was just motivating.
Yeah.
Just lifting them up. So, and I find that even today in the workplace, when I'm trying to help someone, it's very motivating to be able to help someone outside of yourself. I don't want to keep all the stuff I have inside of me just for me. That's selfish. And so there are some selfish people out there, true enough.
Yeah.
But I believe we are more selfless than we are selfish as individuals.
Okay, well, I would like to say where I get mine from. I really, it's almost like a plug to see someone grow that I've had any piece of impact. I don't care if it's just for just having them in my presence. I've been able to pour something in and then to really see their dreams manifest.
Yeah.
That motivates me as an individual to want to help more people. It's almost like it's infectious. So,
It becomes the pull,
yes.
not the push.
Yes, exactly. So when I see people that are really moving forward in their dreams, that have just happened to pass on the journey with me for a little while, oh my God, that's an amazing feeling.
What the scripture say?
Pulling it up. I had it ready. Scripture said it was, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Sorry.
That's what we're talking about
That's
today.
exactly what we're talking about. This
Motivation.
has been an amazing show, and we've come to that hour where we have to almost cut it off. But before I go, who was the one that won the
The riddle,
The
it
riddle.
was
Sandy.
Sandy?
Sandy.
You have a swag bag.
Yeah.
Swag bag. So please go into the comments on Instagram.
Yes, send us a private message on Instagram or on Facebook. You can just find us LV with Val, Sandy, so that we can get you your information, so we can send you your prize.
Oh, Sandy, and thank you guys. And she stayed tuned in, so she is the bomb. She stayed in the whole time. So I'm going to make sure, and I might slip something else because I really love that. I am a natural giver, and I just feel like giving. I want to thank you guys so much for coming in. But the way we go around the room. We allow you to share with your experience on the Love and Victory show and leave what you want to leave the people with of the conversation, about the conversation, what you took out of it, and then also let them know how they can find you. So ladies first, I am going to turn to...
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. It was a great conversation. What do I want to leave with your audience? I would say that be intentional about your life. And know that life is a journey, right? And that you do want to put in the work to heal so that you can live a fulfilled life, because it is your right, it is your promise. And where you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Instrument of God LLC, and then Twitter, I_M_IOG.
All righty. And then Paul.
I love this. This is my second time, and it's fantastic to meet you guys in person, so thank you. I'm honored.
It's going to be hard to reach Paul. He's just everywhere all the time. So.
I'm reachable.
All over the world.
High-speed internet anywhere I go. It's all good. And I guess the one thing is kind of similar to what Saya says is, know yourself. But that means you have to take the time to know yourself and carve that out, and don't distract yourself, and learn what it is to be in a room alone with you. And from there you will see what actions to take, what matters to you, and start building more of what you want and less of what you don't. So that's what I'd like to leave with. And I can be found at www.confidecoaching.com, like to confide in somebody, and on Instagram as well, paulstrobl.com. or
Amen.
at Paul Strobl.
At Paul. At Paul.
There you go.
All righty. And Brother Carter?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, just be intentional about whatever you're doing in life. You know, as a parent, spend some time with your children, as we said on the show. As an individual, look at yourself, admire yourself, because you can't do anything for someone else when you feel bad about your own self. So start loving yourself is what I'm gonna just say to you today. Love yourself, and it'll be easy for you to love someone else. All right.
And for me, what I got out of the show was, wow, if I don't, who will? I don't have to do it all. And you don't have to do it all. So if I can leave you guys with anything, it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say, no, I'm not going to pick this shovel up and try to clean it up and fix it up. And it's okay when it's healthy for you to step in and help someone else. But please allow the individual to help themselves out. So I think that's for me. And to my guests, you guys are amazing.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Having people that are so transparent and open and willing to pour in and just to be on this journey with us. I'm overwhelmed with joy. I'm sitting here full because I know you guys really do care. You care about people, but you also care about me and the Love and Victory Show. And Brother Carter, once again, we got through it. You said no bad words.
No, I didn't.
You didn't. You know.
There's still time.
And,
I just, if I could,
yes,
just want
you
to
can.
add one more thing to what you was just saying. It's okay to delegate also. Just give assignments out
Yes.
and trust that they're going to complete the mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't look over their shoulder. Once you give it to them, let it go.
Yes.
Let it go. And I'm not going to say a bad word.
Okay. And to my amazing team.
Yeah.
You know, Saturday in, Saturday out.
team of all teams.
Yes, I absolutely love you guys. Aaron in the other room, hands out. Hands down, you are amazing. You keep things going. You greet people. And I want to say this on the air. This show is next level because of the people that God has put around us. So thank you.
So if y'all would just take your headset off for a second and come step in the camera for a second and just
Yes.
just let the people just give them. Ms. Aaron, come in here for a second
Come
before
on
we
in.
get off
we
there.
want everybody to see our.
You have your camera over there, Trishan.
They know.
Y'all
Aaron,
know, y'all
come on
know
in
where the
here. Where is
cameras are.
Aaron? Can y'all tell Aaron? I don't know. She's somewhere fixing something, but I really want the people to see our amazing team real quick. Come on in here. Y'all might have to bend down a little bit.
That's okay. That's
But
okay.
this is the
the
crew.
team of all
This
teams.
is the team that really
Right
spin it on
there,
down.
Aaron.
Aaron,
Yes. Come on, Aaron.
Aaron, come back over here. There you go, right there, right there. Sit
Aaron
down.
do not like
Yes,
the camera.
there
She
you go.
love being behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But we do want to give you guys kudos.
Yes.
Give you flowers, right? You can smell them.
I know that we have had some. Y'all can get out the camera. Enough of y'all. Y'all know the show is for the love. Okay, anyway, y'all just tease it. Y'all know
love
that
you
we.
guys.
Thank you guys so much. We've had some technical difficulties, but the one thing that I love about this team, they never quit. Big shout out to Abigail. I have put so much. She is an amazing coordinator. I put so much pressure on her till it is unreal, and she never lets me down. Christian has to clean up all my mess, all our mess.
Not yours.
Oh no, right? I know he cleans it up well, and so I'm just so grateful. And today, again, to everyone that listens to the Love and Victory show, that tunes in, thank you. We love you, and until next time.
God bless you.
Yeah.